Hey guys, Oscar and Suni here with Parenting on Mission.
Greetings all.
Hey, Suni, we've started to get some questions from people asking, what the Parenting Masterclass is all about. Why should they come? And they want to know a little bit more about us. So in today's episode, we plan to answer all of those questions. But before we get started, Suni, just tell them where and when the upcoming Parenting Masterclass will be.
I guess that'll be questions 1 and 2. Question 1, where is it? The first Parenting on Mission Masterclass will be August the 29th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. And we will continue on August the 30th from 8:30 to 5 p.m. at the Pool of Life Community Church. We will also be hosting a Parenting on Mission Masterclass at Champions Forest Baptist Church. Now that's going to be every Wednesday, August the 27th through October the 22nd. And that class will be from 6:45 to 8 p.m. So you guys have options. You can have a 2-day Parenting on Mission Masterclass, or it can be a 9-week Parenting on Mission Masterclass. So it's up to you.
Got a lot of choices.
Got choices.
Suni, we're starting to get some questions from people wanting to know a little bit more about us.
Mm-hmm.
Who we are and why are we teaching a parenting masterclass. This is a valid point. And so today we want to just kind of introduce ourselves, starting with me. I'm Oscar, and I am a father and I'm a husband of 25 years. I have 31 years of parenting experience. Yes, I have a 31-year-old, guys. And I'm a father of 3 boys and a girl ranging from 17 to 31. So I've pretty much experienced all phases of parenting. I have 30 plus years of experience in establishing structure, processes, systems, procedures, working with various businesses. I do have a master's in business administration, an MBA from the University of Houston, where, some of these things that we discussed or studied, shall I say, in my MBA, some of these courses, I found them to be very applicable and transferable to me as a father, bringing things into our family. Some of those were organizational behaviors and management, right? So really understanding how the organizational psychology, how that all works, how people behave and how people respond to things that you should put in place to get a certain response, for example. I studied subjects such as leadership. I've studied subjects such as effective business communication. All of these things come into play when you are, a father and leading a family, which is basically an organization. Now, in 2010, I founded our company, a business consulting, auditing, and training firm called the ISO 9001 Group. And we work with organizations, again, helping them establish structure in their company, business processes, procedures, things, training the employees. I am also an IACET, that's IACET if you want to Google that. I am an accredited adult trainer and teacher. I have trained over 1,000 adults in various subjects, so I know how to train adults. It's a very specific technique that we have to use for that. I do have 20 plus years of experience in volunteering with youth organizations such as the YMCA, Little League Sports, speaking to children at various school events. I was also a life group leader at our church, Champions Forest Baptist Church, where we also taught parents and we also taught college students, which also gave me a great insight and confirmed a lot of things that I was doing in our family, that the structures and procedures and processes that I was putting in place, I got to see that, well, other families were not doing those things or not privy to those things. And so I would, helping them do that, So during my parenting journey, I've always really found that my business side of things, I was able to bring that over to our family, because at the end of the day, my job is to help organizations and teams come together through systems, processes, and structure. Well, what is a family? A family is an organization. It's a team. Once we start bringing on the husband, the wife, and the children, how do we all work together? How do we all function? How do we control those dynamics? How do we communicate? What structures do we have in place? What processes and procedures are we going to follow? What are the rules, the norms of our interactions with each other? So these are the things that I would say over 30 something years now that I've been working to instill. And I strongly believe that a lot of our societal issues are due to the lack of those things. So that's what I'm bringing to the Parenting Masterclass. Suni?
Well, hello everybody. My name is Suni Combs. Watch this, you guys. I want you to watch it and see how God orchestrated this thing, right? When we got together. So my background, I have a bachelor's in education, elementary education. My parents owned child care centers from the time I was 10 years old. So I've worked with early childhood with children since I was 10. I mean, although I was a child when I was 10, but still I learned some things about structure and business, right? So then I went to school at Sam Houston State University. I got my bachelor's in elementary education, and then I went on to get my master's at Prairie View A&M University in school counseling. And so for 29 years, I have worked in the public education setting. And so after that, I taught school for 10 years, then I did 17 years as a school counselor. Now I am a student support specialist, formerly a social emotional learning and school culture specialist. And so when I said watch this, I want you to see how Oscar's desires and his background in business and also in parenting and volunteer work and everything that we've done, how it was merged together to create Parenting on Mission. And so later, after professional school counseling, I went into and I decided to get my licensed professional counseling certification. So now I'm a licensed professional counselor in the evening. So my day job is education, student support specialist. My nighttime job is I'm a licensed professional counselor. And now I work with moms on every journey to parenthood, if it's loss, if that's postpartum, if that's trying to get pregnant, any of those stages of motherhood, I work with clients in that area. And so being a mom and being married to Oscar for 25 years, as you know, we have 3 children. I am a bonus mom as well. So we have also merged our family together, having an older son. And then also that I am also a consultant. I consult with parents on their journey in parenting, working with other parents, as Oscar stated, life groups and things of that sort. And I'm also a youth mental health first aid trainer, which means like CPR, but with first aid for mental health in youth. So helping parents, the community, educators understand and see and recognize signs and symptoms when a child is in a mental health crisis. And so that's my background. Do you see how God did that and merged us together? Yeah. Mental health, academics, his business side, bringing that in, because it can't all be feely. We have to have some structure in here. And I think that has helped us to be successful professionally as well as parents.
All right, guys. So now you understand just a little bit more about my background, my credentials, Sonny's background and credentials. You understand how we're bringing these things together to help run our family. But not only are we focused on just running our family, we put something together that we think would be beneficial and useful for other parents as they work to run their families, right? Because as I mentioned, our family is an organization. That's the key thing that we must keep in mind. So Suni, let's just kind of walk through at a very high level, give them a brief overview of what we will be discussing in the Parenting Masterclass.
Okay.
The first thing that I want to stress about the Parenting Masterclass is that we are trying to provide proven strategies. Like Suni mentioned to you, we have 4 children, 131. Now the one that's 31, kind of went a different direction. Went from under our structure, didn't want the structure. The other 3, they were raised with Suni and myself. The older child is raised from another relationship, did not want that structure. So the other 3, they have submitted themselves to the structure. And this is something that we do always mention, is that parenting takes 2 parties. It takes the parent and the child participating. Mm-hmm. So if a child decides that they do not want to operate under the structure, well, these things don't work as well. But you got to catch them young, right? My oldest son, that's a long story, guys. You guys know how those stories go. But I can tell you, we tried, and he rebelled against this structure. Mm-hmm. And the other 3 that fell underneath it, it's worked, right? So we do know that these methodologies and strategies, that they do work if applied and the child submits themselves to it. Now, we are providing these practical guidelines, but more importantly, when you're in the Parenting Masterclass, you're going to get to network and talk to other parents so that we realize that we're not the only ones going through these things.
Right. Build community.
Right. It's a community. You're going to meet people. You're going to become part of this Parenting on Mission group and community. We also are establishing private groups. So once you register for to attend the master class and you attend, you will also be joining our community as well. And, we're going to have fun.
Yeah.
This is going to be 2 days of fun if you choose the 2-day event, the 29th and 30th. And of course, it's not 2 days. Suni told you the times on the 29th and then the times on the 30th. Or you can also attend on the each Wednesday option as well, where she gave you that information. So we're definitely going to have a lot of fun, have a lot of learning, a lot of discussion, and a lot of answering of questions. But guys, I do want you to know that you can get your tickets now. The spaces are limited. At both of these facilities, there's limited spacing. And so if you would like to attend, I'm going to tell you how you can. We have general admission or at the door pricing, okay? So you can go online or you can come to the door and purchase your ticket for $35. Mm-hmm. You can also purchase your tickets right now online if you go to our website, parentingonmission.com, and you go to the page where it says Parenting Masterclass. You click on register. It's going to take you to Eventbrite. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you can purchase your tickets for $28. Okay, that's 20% discount all the way up to August the 15th. You'll be able to purchase those tickets. Now, keep in mind, as I mentioned, the space is limited at both of these facilities. So, the early bird, you may want to go ahead and get those tickets now. Now, if you are purchasing 2 or more tickets, the price is $30. I mean, $30 per ticket. Mm-hmm. All right. So you're saving like $10 there if you purchase 2 or more tickets each time. Okay. So, Suni, what do you have to say about just the class before we kind of get into the
Oscar,
detail?
our parenting masterclass is, and just the materials in all, right? It's in 6 phases. Is the information that you guys are going to get? It's going to be in 6 phases. The 6 phases are going to be in the shape of a pyramid. And so we wanted to make sure that it was in the shape of the pyramid because when you think about a structure, anything that you're building is going to be as strong as your foundation. And we spend so much more time in our parenting journey. We realize, I think as most of you may have realized, we spend a lot of time on the early years. And so that's why we built the foundation. If the foundation is strong, that means that the other areas or levels of development of our children or our parenting journey is going to be as strong. But if that foundation is not strong, or if level 3 or phase 3 is not strong, then there's going to be some at-risk behaviors or concerns we may see on our journey.
Right.
And so that's why it's in the shape of a pyramid. And I think that we spend the most time, the most effort is going to be during those early years. But it doesn't mean that the time, effort, or attention that is not necessary later on. We just want to make sure we put it in there. Then we'll have to spend as much time on other behaviors. It's just coaching. It is advising. It is mentoring, consulting with our children as they get older, as they go into at the older ages. And so that's basically what the phases are. I think, Oscar, I guess the structure would be. But I think that for you, if you could just talk a little bit about the first 3 phases and kind of give them more information about what you're going to learn in each phase.
Okay. So that's a good point, because, that pyramid better be strong at the bottom, right? And sometimes we don't put that time in at the bottom of that pyramid, and when life starts lifing, and then that's when things start tumbling. Right, so Suni and I have developed what we are calling a parenting pyramid, right? And we call this the 6 parenting phases. And I'm going to cover the first 3. Suni's going to cover the other 3. The first phase is preparing. The second phase is planting. The third phase is managing. The fourth phase is watering. The 5th phase is harvesting, and phase 6 is preserving. All right, so I'm going to cover phases 1 through 3. And, these phases are kind of aligned with ages, grouping of ages. But it doesn't mean that it's still not applicable if your child or your children are outside of these age groups. You may just need to go back and revisit these points with them based upon whatever age they are, right? So from ages 0 through 5, right? So these are all our new parents. This is called the preparing phase. It's kind of like you are preparing that soil. You're getting the soil ready for all the things or the values that you want to instill into your child. So you're preparing and you're setting the foundation. You're establishing values and behaviors that will be the foundation for your child's life and for your parenting. The things that you will be working to instill, as Suni mentioned, on each level, right? And then we move into phase 2, which is planting. Right, guys? Have you ever planted a garden? You know how you have to till the soil, have to break that ground up, and now when you do that, the ground is ready. So now you can start planting those seeds, right? So that's what phase 2 is. We call it the planting phase, and ages 6 through 10 is where we are planting and building expected core values and behaviors, right? So we're working with our children, and we are trying to plant those seeds so that when we get into phase 3 is where we're managing, right? Because if you think about it, you've planted, you prepared in phase 1, and then you planted those seeds in phase 2. Well, you just can't let your seeds just be in the ground. You have to go and kind of nurture them. You have to manage the growth, right? You have to go pull weeds, and you may have to still do some toiling of the soil, put some fertilizer in there. You got squirrels and birds trying to get at your new growth. So here we are instilling and managing life skills for development, right? Instilling and managing life skills for their development, guys. That's what phases 1, 2, and 3. And phase 3 is typically ages 11 through 15. Sonny's going to cover the other phases.
And so, Oscar, as you talk about each phase, I think about and I reflect on as an educator, right? When I first started teaching, it was the younger grades. Mm-hmm. Then you would see so much parental involvement.
Okay.
And then I started counseling, it was 5th and 6th grade students. And then it would start dwindling off, the involvement. And then middle school, it dwindled off more. Then when I became a senior counselor, it dwindled off even more. Not that parents did not think that the involvement was important. They thought that our child, they just don't need it right now.
Right.
They're good. Mm-hmm. And so then we as we developed the phases, we went on into the next 3 phases, because that age of development starts at 16 to 20. Those ages as parents, we sometimes think that they're good. But really and truly, that's a hard transitional time for children.
What do we call that phase?
We call that phase watering.
Okay. And
the watering phase is important because you have prepared, you've planted, you've managed, but you have to water it. Mm-hmm. Because it's doing the work now. What you've instilled in them, the work is happening underground as they're growing and going through life. Well, you got to water it. And during that phase, that's when you're nurturing intentionally. Because now you're nurturing even more so, okay, they're getting ready for college. What does that look like? Or they're entering college. How do we take care of them and water the things that we planted over the years? Mm-hmm. And so that's when you're really working on strengthening what you've already built. The next phase is phase 5. It's going to be harvest time. That's ages 21 to 25. That's when you're shifting our role. Now we're guiding, we're consulting, as our oldest sons say, we're his advisors, we're advising at that time, because now they've moved and transitioned to about to graduate and now going on in most instances, or in our experience, going on to live on their own.
Sure.
And so they're starting their career. So now they're asking questions about, how should I do this? Budgeting. That's when that harvesting time comes. But it's still important that we're still intentional. We're still staying connected and continuing to build on the relationship, and then helping your children at that age of 21, 25, or your young adults to also still stay connected to home. Stay connected to the family, that they're not out there on their own if they need us, right? Or if they don't, you're still not on your own. You still have us here.
Stay connected.
Staying connected. And the last phase is preserving. Mm-hmm. That's ages 25 and up. And preserving is simply that. What you've instilled, you're teaching them and helping them to preserve that legacy. Mm-hmm. You're reinforcing what has been instilled, because most times they're about to start their own families.
Sure.
And so being able to preserve what we've instilled, what our family, our core values, and how you can create and continue that legacy with your own family.
Right, and supporting them.
And supporting them.
All right, guys, so we walked you through the core of the Parenting Masterclass is our 6 parenting phases. What were they? Phase 1 was preparing. Phase 2 was planting. Phase 3,
managing.
Phase 4,
watering.
Phase 5,
now you get to reap the benefit, harvesting.
And phase 6.
And lastly, we want to make sure we preserve the legacy.
So guys, this is serious, okay? And we hope to see you at the Parenting Masterclass. If you are considering becoming a parent, or maybe you are a parent, maybe you are a grandparent, mm-hmm. Maybe you're just a caregiver, you should really consider attending the Parenting Masterclass. I wish there was something like this for Suni and I when we were contemplating becoming parents, but it wasn't out there. So why don't you join us, and you can learn more about these 6 phases of parenting, and I can guarantee you that there will be something for everyone. Suni, do you have a parenting point for us this week?
Yes, I do. I just want to encourage you guys to remember some of the things we discussed today. Remember that any good, strong structure is depending upon that foundation, right? So we want to make sure we're building a strong foundation. We believe our strong foundation, of course, is in Jesus. The next thing is to remember that through every stage of development of your child, of your parenting journey, remember that your children will need ongoing care, They need your presence. And lastly, they are going to need your attention. Not just being there, not just being in the same room, but attention, attending to what their needs are, where they are in their lives, and making sure that we stay purposeful and intentional in our parenting.
All right, guys. So we do thank you for tuning in today, and just know that once you're a parent for life.
Forever.
I'm sorry to tell you, if you thought it was going to be over when your child turned 18 or whatever, nope. Mm-mm. You're a parent for life until you die. And that's the way we just have to realize and come to those terms. But it can be a joyful experience if you're doing things right. We're not saying parenting means that you're taking care of your child till you die. Mm-hmm. If you do it right, it would be the other way almost. Your child will want to take care of you in your later stages of life, guys. So we do thank you for watching, but hey, leave a comment. I want to hear don't you want to hear from these people?
I want to hear from the people.
I mean, what do you guys have to say about what do you guys have to say about parenting? We want to hear from you. Drop a comment. Take a moment to hit that notification button so that you can know when the next video drops. Sonny and I have been dropping some really good content, and we want you guys to be notified. Share these videos with people that you may know. Subscribe to our channel. But most importantly, remember, parenting is a lot easier when it's done on mission. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye now.
Bye.